It's the last day of May, and we're talking pickups, two-start pitchers, and more here on the Friday edition of the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Welcome to the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. We are brought to you by Prize Picks. Use promo code ROTOPOD for a 100% deposit match. I'm your host, Clay Link of RotoWire.com, here with FSWA Hall of Famer, the great Todd Zola. Todd, always a pleasure to be on with you, although some unfortunate news this week, of course. I'm sure if you're listening to this, you're well aware that Ronald Acuna went down for the season, torn ACL on his left knee. Really stinks for the game, and such an exciting player. If you had the number one overall pick this year, you took Acuna. Almost certainly he was the consensus number one. And for such an exciting player who made history last year, it really sucks to see him go down for, the season-ending injury for the second time in 4 seasons.
So you right. You mentioned that the number one pick. Think about this as well. In auctions, you lost 25% of your budget. He was going.
That's
60,
true. Yeah, 60.
Maybe even more. He was going at least $60 up to $70. That's, in a draft, you expect the first number one pick to return about $45. So there's a huge potential profit. If you pay $65, you expect $65 of return, right? So that's just a cruncher. It just accentuates the loss, and Acuna was just beginning to turn it around again. And, all right, is it going to make a fun narrative of where he gets drafted next year? Yeah, okay. But I'd rather be the narrative, is Bobby Witt or Ronald Acuna the number one pick? Which could have been the case. That could have been that could have been a fun couple of months worth of debates.
True. We were talking just last week on the MLB Network radio show about kind of redrafting the first round. Would we still take Acuna? We both said we would still take Acuna number one, and then bam, just like that. That's how fast things can change and do change in the world of fantasy baseball. Yep. But yeah, I was adjusting my cheat sheet, and I do have Bobby Witt number one. I assume by what you just said that he's your new number one rest of season, Bobby Witt Jr.
I have to think about Kyle Tucker, and it's not just because he is my number two coming into the season, but he is playing at a new level, at just a different level, and the team is bound to be picked up. I would probably go Bobby Witt, but I would try to get the second pick so I could take Kyle Tucker, sort of thing.
Ohtani, I think, is in that mix too. He's been, he's great. He's kind of gone a little cold lately, but
I'm still,
of course, a great player.
I'm still concerned that at some point he's going to slow down just a bit for the rehab. We've been getting reports that he's playing catch in the outfield, long toss, if you will. So at some point, I think he's going to need to slow down a bit, give him some days. And he's already, he played through a hamstring issue recently, which is a little surprising. Maybe did he get a day off of the doubleheader? I don't recall. But that's just a reminder that he's, even though he wears a cape, there's still some injury kryptonite available there. So, but you're right, man. Ohtani has just exceeded expectations with the bat. If you draft him first, you now know you need to build in some eligibility elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if we're talking about rest of season, there's players that have picked up extra eligibility, so you can do it. You almost have to purposely not draft a team with multiple eligible players, with so many of them out there now.
Yeah, I was looking at one of my teams with Joey Ortiz, who's been a gem find for me. He's been great lately, and just a lot of guys with multi-positional eligibility that I didn't realize had it. So that has been kind of nice. But one thing about Ohtani that's kind of shocking is just how much he's running. Like on that offense, I just didn't necessarily think he would need to run. I still thought he would, rack up 20 steals or so, but on pace for a new career high.
Well, we say in that offense, but that is a very top-heavy lineup.
True.
And heading into the day after the doubleheader was rained out, they had averaged 2.2 runs per game. It came up with the day of the day after the rain out, so the day of the doubleheader. So it's do we stream? Was it, I think, Tyler McGill, whichever, the Mets McGill.
Tyler.
Do we stream? I need to think of a word association so I can tell them apart. When I have some way to remember which goes to which when speaking fast. But anyway, the answer was yes, to stream McGill that day. Also to stream Gavin Stone. But the point being, Betts and Ohtani, they need to produce in the top 5. They need to produce up top. The bottom of the order is not doing much.
Yeah, we've already seen James Outman lose his starting role. They got guys like, Jason Hayward back at the back of that lineup. So yeah, it's
Gavin Lux is top nothing,
as you said. Yeah, Miguel Vargas finally getting some playing time, but
yep.
Yeah, so with as we mentioned, Acuna going down. With that, the top pickup in the stake league this week, Adam Duvall at $7. Duvall going to be stepping into more playing time, and they're going to have Jared Kelenic and Duvall at the outfield corners with of course Michael Harris in center and leading off a lot against right-handers. So, what's your interest level in Duvall? Does $7 out of $100 budget sound about right for you on Adam Duvall?
Yeah, you know what? I was unaware of how poorly he's played so far.
Yeah, we struggled like a lot of guys, but
yeah, we just assume, all right, he'll be the weak side of platoon. He'll be fine. Some people who are used to being regulars may not adjust to playing once, twice, 3 times a week, or et cetera. Well, more than that, 2 or 3 times a week. Whether that's the case with Duvall, I can't say for sure, but he certainly has not produced as we thought. But I still think you give the benefit of the doubt and make a little bit, because I think he's going to be at least been given the run. He can fill in. He can play enough defense. Michael Harris is obviously the center fielder, but he can. Duvall's good enough that he can play right field. I'm trying to think who it is. The Braves picked up, some kind of like somebody off of waivers, an outfielder. I'm trying to remember who it was that I was kind of surprised. I don't think they're any threat to Duvall, but it was interesting that they made them. I'll look it up by the end of the day. Our buddy Uncle Ted says Jazz Chisholm now. The Miami's not trading Jazz Chisholm.
Sounds like they're going to be trading Jesus Luzardo, but Chisholm would probably command quite the hefty price, as Luzardo will too. But it would take a lot to pry a building block type piece like Chisholm away. We'll see, though. Not completely out of the question.
I think. I think they're going to put people in the seats. I think Luzardo fetches in pieces to build around Chisholm, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense, because it's kind of hard to get rid of every last piece that could.
Well, if any team will do it.
Yeah.
But they usually do it after winning. So anyway.
Well, the second highest price pickup last night in the stake league was David Peterson at $5, and I think that transitions well into the moves they made today. The Mets, they sent down Christian Scott and Brett Beatty, so kind of shaking things up here amidst the rough stretch. A little bit surprised to see Scott heading down, but I mean, they could always bring him back, and I guess this is kind of like service time manipulation with the season kind of fading already for the Mets.
I don't think it's service time manipulation as it is workload management. I'm going to now, if you're driving, pull over, because I'm about to say something that maybe you haven't heard or don't expect. In these 2 moves, the Mets did both the smart and the right thing. I think it was the smart thing with Scott, because the deal with Scott is the Mets have got a bunch of off days coming up with the London series, so it's a way to they don't need them in a rotation. They can still get by with 5 guys, and I don't know that he'll be pitching. Won't be pitching at all. Was it one of the Braves pitchers recently that last year, the year before, was sent down in this manner and didn't pitch at all? It was Yuri Perez.
Yeah.
Maybe he was sent down, pitched. So when he came back up, he was only going 2 and 3 innings at a time before he, stretched out again. So I'll be curious to see what the Mets actually do with Scott down on the farm. But I think it's good. And with Beatty, all right. If the reason to keeping up as well as defense has gotten better, that's not enough. His OPS is actually a tad better than last year, but that's like saying, I lost 10 pounds when I weigh 390. Whatever. You get a lot more room to go, my friend. It's just it's an improvement, but come on. So I'm not really surprised. Not to mention Vientos. I don't say he's raking, but he's certainly doing the job. A 900 plus OPS.
And he's slotting in now, like right in the heart of the order. So they're kind of leaning on him and riding that hot stretch from Vientos. And I guess when I first saw the Beatty news, my first instinct was service time manipulation, but maybe not. It's just that the Mets have 23 wins right now. They have the same number of wins as the Athletics. Steve Cohen was, tweeting about how rough of a stretch it had been. So I guess, you kind of assume the worst with some of these moves, but I guess you're right that it made sense from a number of different angles, not necessarily on-field product reasons.
Right. Real quick, it was Ramon Laureano that I was thinking about with the Braves.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, if it's a depth piece, hasn't played very well lately, has made his name more for making incredible throws and incredible home runs, but still, you know what? It's a major league depth piece, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Laureano up with the Braves Atlantic club, sooner than later.
Well, through all that, we didn't really talk about David Peterson much, but
no.
Looking at the projected starters, he's lined up tentatively for at Washington next week, and then they have a couple off days before the London series. Looks like it's Mets and Phillies in London next weekend, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'm not sure which team is serving as the home team. Not that it matters. We can look it up.
I think it's 1-1 for both. So
I believe they have reconfigured the stadium a bit, so it's not quite the bandbox that the Red Sox and Yankees abused a couple years ago, but it still should be a favorable venue for hitting. We'll talk a little bit about that maybe when you get into the two starts, but keep that in mind. And you alluded to it. They have 2 off days in a row, which, they're playing Monday through Wednesday, traveling Thursday and Friday. Then they have the series on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. So when we get to them, they'll be 5-game weeks. And we talked about it on the Sirius XM show just earlier today. And that, what do you do with your batters? It's a hitting environment. The pitching isn't that great going against them. So do you look to sit your Mets, sit your Phillies? I mean, you start your studs at all time. I mean, Bryce Harper's not Bryce Harper. Yeah, I have to remember what team he's on. Yep, he's on the Phillies. Bryce Harper's not sitting down, right? Pete Alonso, who escaped a scare, getting hit in the hand, apparently was able to pinch hit yesterday, so he escaped that scare. And I think sending Beatty down also kind of tells us Alonso's going to be okay. I would think, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Given that those happened this morning on the heels of that, I would agree with you.
It's and not to mention, Francisco Lindor had a little bit of a speed bump this week, and Beatty was the backup shortstop. So by sending him down, although they did bring up Jose Iglesias. So how much did Jose Iglesias go for in the Stake League?
Not picked up, I don't believe. But David Peterson, again, very tentative, but we have him in there for at Washington, then the week after versus Miami. So short term, if you need some help, David Peterson and the Mets certainly looks like a
strikeout upside. Whenever he seems to get in a roll, he either gets hurt or gets blown up and loses. He hasn't had an extended opportunity. A lot of it's his own doing because of injury. But as Peterson had, in my mind, he hasn't had like that extended 10 or 12 week, 2 or 3 month stint to show what he can do.
Well, behind Adam Duvall and David Peterson, Albert Suarez was picked up for 4. He's been in and out of that Baltimore Orioles rotation. He's back in there tonight to start against Tampa Bay. So
I kind of like that. Maybe not 5 innings up, or maybe just 5 innings off the bat because he went to the bullpen. And, great place to pitch, great offense, obviously. Kramer doesn't look like he's coming back that very quickly. So there's going to be opportunities, and Means as well.
Yeah, true. And then behind those guys, Spencer Schwellenbach of the Atlanta Braves. So they brought up AJ Smith-Shawver. He went down with an injury right away. They started Ray Kerr the other day to push Ronaldo Lopez back, give him an extra day. So, kind of a lot up in the air here with this Atlanta Braves rotation. But Schwellenbach, kind of interesting. Do you have any firm takes or any strong feelings about Schwellenbach of the Braves?
He's really tough to evaluate because when he was drafted, he was recovering from Tommy John. So the early development was a little bit slow. So he's a little, you just look at the numbers. Oh, he's old for the level. He should be doing that well. Well, not really. Development wise, he's not old for the level. But I like the Braves context, but I don't know. I'm a little scared about trusting him. And it has to be a really favorable matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and Ray Kerr, who I mentioned, I don't really think he's going to stick around in that rotation. Maybe he sticks on the pitching staff in the bullpen. But while there's nothing, official, I do think Schwellenbach probably gets a few more opportunities. Took the loss in his debut, but a prospect of some note, certainly. James Anderson has him as the number 4 prospect in that organization.
Kind of
I'm with you. Tough guy to evaluate.
Kind of a pop-up guy. Yeah.
True. Spencer Arrighetti, Spaghetti, picked up for $2. He's pitched better lately.
Looked good last night.
Yeah, he did.
He certainly did. I would not have touched him a few weeks ago, but listen, Houston's the same context. It's a team you want to pitch for, or team, streaming. So I don't mind that.
And Mundo Sosa's been playing surprisingly well in the absence of Trey Turner. I have him in one league, but I have him on the bench. I kind of don't like chasing a hot streak like that from a guy like Sosa. But if you need a middle, and Mundo Sosa's, widely available. So
I'm kind of in lockstep there in that there's just not a lot of middle infielders available. So you have to consider him, but you kind of hope he's 3rd or 4th on your chain, and he may not be.
Yeah, that's true. Jeremiah Estrada's kind of popped up.
Oh, yeah.
Turned into a surprisingly effective reliever for the San Diego Padres. I had a $0 bid in on him. He went for 2, so didn't get him and didn't get anybody I put in bids for. I actually still have Garrett Whitlock on my team. Dang it.
Is the surprise that he's effective or that he went through such a spell where he couldn't reach the plate? I mean, he's kind of as much of a reliever prospect can have hype. He had a lot of hype with the Cubs, but he couldn't find the plate.
Yeah, I remember he did have a lot of hype.
Then the Padres, they just have this, whether it's confidence in that pitching in that park or whatever it might be. He's not the first reliever that has found his footing in Petco Park. But what he's been doing is like 12 strikeouts in a row, something silly, right?
Yeah, he set some major league record the other day, I think.
Yeah, something goofy.
Forget what it
whereas the Cubs are now cycling through, just trying to find anything at all. And how Cubs
use a guy like that right now.
Cubs fans are calm and collected and just take everything, as it goes, happy-go-lucky, right? That they're not making remarks about that.
No, they're definitely taking that in stride. None of these guys available in the stake league, but definitely guys to consider if they are available in your specific league. David Fry, playing okay. Ben Brown was pitching well. Mason Wynn, we talked about a couple weeks ago, has been putting together a pretty crazy hit streak. Getting opportunities to start at the top of the order. We'll see if that continues against righties. And then Nick Gonzalez as well.
Yep.
Any other potential pickups on your mind today?
No, let me just a little bit about Fry. He was picked up a lot this week because of the series in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets dropped, I would think about picking him. I mean, I had him beforehand. He's been playing a lot. Again, riding streaks, 400 BABIP. Stephen Vogt, right? Is Stephen Vogt? Yeah, Stephen Vogt's now with the Guardians. He doesn't care. He's producing. He's playing as very well for a second catcher in a deeper league.
Yeah, DH and a lot too. So
you're right. So he's getting he's not going to continue to bat 300 or whatever it might be, but I think he'll be a viable second catcher. So take a look. If he's dropped, maybe think it won't be, it'll be dropped this week and not be for next week. But consider Fry if whoever picked him up says, no more Colorado, I'm going to drop him.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea because of that DH playing time and what you said.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
him,
Ryan Weathers probably picked up, but he's been pitching well. And actually, in one league today, first come, first served league, with restrictions on your pickups, but with Christian Scott sent down today, I dropped Christian Scott to add Matt Waldron. Knuckleballer's pitching okay. So
my only recommendation is don't watch him pitch. Just
yeah,
and it's not the same as Tim Wakefield, but it's like watching your closer because the knuckle, that the guy, he's just saying hit this, and more often than not they don't. But it's somewhat tongue in cheek. Waldron's a little bit different because you can actually play the is he going to throw a fastball here game with Waldron.
I get it though. I mean, sometimes pretty much just don't watch any pitcher on your team because it almost always goes wrong.
You know what our friend Lar Michaels called it? Fantaside.
Fantaside, yeah. I had a brutal case of that this year where I turned on a Spencer Strider start. His velo was a little down. Eugenio Suarez took him deep, and that was it for Spencer Strider. So just don't watch your guys. Watch somebody else. Just let your guys play, out of sight, out of mind.
You play in so many leagues, though. You're going to run into one now and again.
That's true.
You know what? Just like I don't believe it. It's a no-hitter. Whether or not, so we talk about a guy and he gets hot. It's not because we gave him the rub. It was going to happen anyway. But anyway.
Friend of the show, Uncle Ted's mentioned in the chat that Ref Snyder's batted third for Boston with O'Neill out, although it doesn't sound like O'Neill's going to miss all that much time, right? I thought he had a positive development. But
at least they don't think it's going to be a long injury, but it's Tyler O'Neill.
Yeah,
he could get hurt in the this is not a slight. It's just,
no.
He gets hurt busting out a ground ball in the rehab. The thing with Ref Snyder is he's been playing a lot against righties, even with O'Neill. I don't think the Red Sox will force his bat into the lineup against righties, but they're no longer hesitant to play O'Neill against right-handed pitching.
Ref Snyder, right?
Oh, Ref Snyder.
Yeah. I knew what you meant.
Yeah, Ref Snyder.
Yeah, he is like such a short side platoon guy throughout his career, but he can hold his own against righties too. Ref Snyder. Well, let's pause briefly. We'll get to our 2-star pitcher grades momentarily, but a brief word from our sponsor and our friends over at So Rare. Have you ever dreamed of stepping into the shoes of a general manager? Welcome to So Rare MLB, a groundbreaking fantasy baseball game where you call the shots. Take charge and make your managerial mark by collecting officially licensed digital player cards of your favorite MLB stars. They aren't just any cards. They're your ticket to compete for over $1 million in total cash rewards and other amazing prizes. Imagine winning VIP tickets to the MLB All-Star Game 2024 or getting your hands on signed merchandise from top MLB players. So here's how it works. You use your cards to set your lineup each game week. Real-world plays like hits, strikeouts, and homers will power your team's performance, climb the leaderboards, and snag weekly wins from cash prizes to more cards and unforgettable experiences. But there's more. Build an iconic collection of your favorite teams and players to unlock gameplay bonuses and exclusive rewards. The rarer the card, the higher your score, and the bigger your edge in competitions. And when you're ready to trade, the So Rare Marketplace offers a vibrant community of managers. Engage in live auctions, make instant buys, or trade cards peer-to-peer. Starting is absolutely free. Draft your first team of common cards today and feel the thrill of competition as you climb the ranks to baseball mastery. What are you waiting for? Join So Rare MLB today. Transform your passion for baseball into a quest for glory and get rewarded for your baseball savvy. Sign up today with the link in the description. Get 50% off your first pro cards up to $50. It's your passion rewarded. We definitely appreciate their sponsorship. And Todd, we will move on. 2-star pitchers. We're into June already. The week of June 3rd. And just want to mention it again that the London series is something to take note of this coming week.
Right. Philly and New York, when we get to that, it'll affect, well, they're not going to have 2-star pitchers, but it's something to think about more for batting than it will be for hitting. And this is, This is one of the reasons why when I do the hitting update now, I'm including individual batters. You can check out what the weekly projection is, including the park factor for Phillies and Mets hitters to help you decide whether to start a 5-day guy or a 6 or 7 day guy. The individual hitters that I've added to the rankings.
Well, if you can, you can follow along with us. You can customize the probable pitchers grid over at RotoWire.
Yeah.
Custom start date, June 3rd, 2024. And number one on the list here this week, Ryan Nelson. I feel like he always is on this list for some reason. I'm going to go 0 versus San Francisco at San Diego. He just hasn't shown me enough to really, consider him. I want to go 0.
I am as well. He sticks in a good start now and again, but not enough to sway me. And to make it go quick, Slade Ciccone filling in for Zach Gallen, who we're assuming is going to be out, has teased stuff as well, but I'm not starting him.
Yeah, Gallen left to start yesterday, and he has been diagnosed with a hamstring strain. Nothing official, but I would have to think he misses a couple starts.
Especially since it's the recurrence.
Yep.
And you know what? Let's just get it fixed, right? I think they have to have that. It's just, we were talking, I forget, I've had so many different co-hosts. I'm the professional sidekick. I forget which of the RotoWire co-hosts asked me the question, who are my top 3 starters? But I kind of forgot Gallen. It's like, wait a minute. There's Zach. It was Jeff, because he mentioned that Fred Zinke said the same thing, in that we always forget about Zach Gallen in these conversations. Well, maybe it's the injury. I don't know. But he was my 3rd ranked rest of season starter heading into the week, but now he'll drop because of the injury.
Well, a guy who's pitched like he deserves to be in that top 3 mix, Max Fried, really since the first couple weeks of the season, he's turned the page and just been lights out
too, right?
Yeah, I think we had a buy low question on Fried, and that was a great buy low window if you took advantage of it. At Boston,
he was a draft low. He was a draft low, anyway.
He just kept falling further than he should, it felt like.
Yep, absolutely.
Certainly looks like that now. But at Boston, at Washington, I think I'm going to go 5 on Fried. I know that's
don't love the matchups, but I think he's matchup proof.
Yeah, I would say
Boston does not. Watching them every day, they made Jack Flaherty look like Cy Young last night. 5.
Yeah, he's about as matchup proof, I would say, as you can get right now, Max Fried. For Baltimore, Grayson Rodriguez, Corbin Burns, both at Toronto, then at Tampa Bay. I'm tempted to go 5s on both of these guys, too. What say you on Grayson Rodriguez and then Corbin Burns?
Yeah, Burns is the 5, Rodriguez is a 4.6. Yeah, they're both 5.
Yeah.
But, it's just Burns is one of those top 3 candidates along with Zach Wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
So, matchups. This is going to be an interesting week for Baltimore. And, this is a week where they need to establish themselves. I'm off of caffeine and I'm doing this. Wean myself back off of caffeine. At Toronto and at Tampa. This is the week where Baltimore can really, I know the Yankees are crushing at things as well, but this is a way Baltimore can really make a statement in the AL East.
The regression monster has caught up to Cutter Crawford lately. His past 2 starts, he's given up 11 earned runs and 10 1/3 innings. A couple of homers, 4 walks in that stretch. He knew that he's going to come back to earth eventually. It was still good numbers overall. And the past 2 years, the whip has been really good for Cutter Crawford. So he is going to be versus Atlanta, then at the White Sox. Even though he's kind of slid back, I think I'm going to go 3, and I could see the case for a 4.
Yeah, at White Sox makes it a 4. Right. And Atlanta is just not. I'm going to go 3 as well, but I'm not. I'm not as scared. Atlanta without Acuna has to sort of reestablish their dominance, and they were struggling without Acuna. Austin Riley had that IL stint on the bench. He needs to get it back in gear again, and
he's struggled since that day-to-day IL stint.
Yeah, Michael Harris, the second, batted leadoff against at least the first time they faced a right-hander. So we'll see if that gives him a boost. But it's not like he earned that spot necessarily either. But We'll see. Matt Olson continues to light up the StatCast page, but still hasn't quite caught up as far as production.
Yeah, I have to kind of recalibrate that Atlanta matchup now that Acuna's gone. It does really kind of change things as far as that matchup goes. Okay, so Cutter Crawford. I said 3. What did you say on Crawford?
I agree with the 3.
Yeah. Okay, you got 3 too. All right. Next up, the Cubs. It looks like what is it? Jordan Wicks? Who's returning for them next week? I don't know exactly, but
yeah, I think Wicks.
Yeah, I think we have Wicks set to return. So he's on rehab right now in AAA Iowa. So that makes sense.
It saves us from having to talk about Shota Imanaga's first bad performance.
Yeah, why couldn't he just be pitch like that all the time now? He's still got a 1.86 ERA.
Yeah.
Another guy you knew regression was coming in one form or another. So just got to hope it's soft in the end. For the Reds, Andrew Abbott, Frankie Montas, they both got to go to Colorado, then home against the Chicago Cubs, 2 of the tough pitching venues in baseball for these guys. I still think I'd give Abbott a chance here. Montas hasn't looked particularly good lately, so I think I'm going to go Andrew Abbott 3. I think I'm only going to give Montas a 1, just kind of like a points league 1. I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm with you on Montas. I mean, Abbott, in my mind, at least he's now, I have to think about it. It's still, I'm going to go 2. Colorado does not, it scares me. And I know the team's not as good. It's going to get warmer, and the team's going to look better.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. It's always a scary matchup, and Montas had a couple good outings to start, but he walks that fine line, man, with a lot of contact. You just worry that it's going to be volatile from start to start. That you had cores in the mix, just too many pieces there for potential disaster. Tristan McKenzie going to be versus Kansas City, then at Miami. We know he's been pitching through that elbow injury all year, but faring okay. Versus KC at Miami. For
Talk about recalibrating. The Royals are like the 6th or 7th highest scoring team in the league.
Really? Jeez.
But yet, other than Bobby Witt and Amy, it's like they're just all doing a little bit.
Vinny P was playing okay, and he avoided an injury scare.
Well, Salvador Perez is crushing it. I shouldn't say only. Sal is going nuts.
Yeah, the ageless Sal Perez. Vinny Pasquantino, he did have an injury scare, but he was back in the lineup Thursday, so looks like he's okay.
But at Miami, don't you start at a 3 and decide if you're going higher?
Yeah, I was going to go 3. That was my initial lean.
I'm going to go 3 too, just because I don't know that McKenzie, like you mentioned, the injury. If I knew he was going to go 6 1/3 or 7, okay, but he may be a 5 and fly sort of thing, so I am going to go 3.
Here's some easy ones. I've already got them on the sheet here. Ryan Feltner, Ty Block, 0. So we can
0-0. Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, White Sox, Jake Woodford. That's going to be a 0 too.
I kept carrying him on my projections, and I kept seeing how he's doing in the minors, and you know what? It's a 0.
Yeah, I think you just you can't really take that chance in any situation. Tariq Skubal, saw some people tweeting that, over the last basically 162 best calendar year, this guy's been just about the best pitcher in all baseball. So, if not the best by a lot of measures. So 7-1 this season with a 2.01 ERA. Another guy is pretty much matchup proof, but at Texas versus Milwaukee, not bad matchup. So I'm going to go 5.
5. I think you can make an argument that Skubal is the number 1 pitcher in baseball.
Yeah, he's right up there. I do still have concerns about how much he'll pitch in the end, but
a little bit. But we don't. Flaherty doesn't have 2 starts, but you know what? His underlying metrics are matching Skubal's. It's kind of silly.
Mm-hmm.
I think people think that Skubal has better staying power, but you can't say Flaherty's been lucky. His K-minus BB, everything is almost on spot with Skubal's.
What are your thoughts on Justin Verlander this week? Pretty good matchups for Verlander. It's versus St. Louis, then at The Angels, who are a mess. Not a, I like to reserve those fives for the very top, and Verlander's not quite there anymore at his age, but high end 4 in my opinion.
Yeah, he's looking a little better than I expected. The curve has the bite back, I think, and he can't reach back for 99 like he used to be able to, but he keeps a bit in reserve. So I'm impressed with what Verlander's doing. It is a little disturbing to watch him pitching with the speckled with the salt and pepper beard though.
I haven't seen that. Has he got rocking some gray in the beard?
Yeah, he's rocking some gray in the beard.
Well,
so, anyway,
he can do that if he wants. He can do pretty much whatever he wants in life. Seth Lugo, 9-1. One of the, I think he's the American League leader in
ERA.
Earned run average, and it's wild what he's doing. At Cleveland versus Seattle. Man, he's another one where I'm just reluctant to give him a 5. Of course, you're starting him, but I think for symbolic reasons here, I'm just going to give Lugo a 4.
I am as well, but I mean, rest of season, is he a top 25 starting pitcher?
It's a legit. I can't put him up there, but I get where you're coming from.
I mean, I can't either, but it wouldn't shock me if I think he's more like a 25 to 35. Because he doesn't strike out a bunch of people, and he's over his skis regression-wise. But darn it, if he just keeps getting it done.
True. Well, we'll pause real quick. Bring you a quick word from our friends at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states across the country. Prize Picks is really simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. We have an awesome new tool at RotoWire. And by the way, the URL, if you can't find it, this Prize Picks tool, it is rotowire.com/picks/prizepicks. So real easy to find. Again, rotowire.com/picks/prizepicks. Couple options I like tonight. Under on Jose Urena. Outs. He's at Miami, but 17.5 outs seems a little high for me. So I'm going to take the under on Jose Urena.
Ooh, so am I.
And I actually like, the over on Byron Buxton's total base prop because it's only 0.5. Hitting, you never know on a game-by-game basis, but I like Byron Buxton. We have a lot of other sports mixed in here. I'll take the under on Kelsey Plum points. Tonight, WNBA, 19.5. I saw the music video that her ex-husband put out, Darren Waller. Very strange. So I'm going to assume that her head's not really in it tonight over in the WNBA. But quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes Prize Pick the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Download the app today and use promo code ROTOPOD for a first deposit match up to $100. That's promo code ROTOPOD for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. All right, Todd, back to the 2-start pitchers for next week. Tyler Anderson, pitching really well, just feels like a house of cards. Waiting for that other shoe to drop, and one shoe did drop his last time out. 6 walks over 5 innings against the Yankees. The Yankees lineup is tough, but Tyler Anderson, I just don't really believe in. So he's going to be versus the Padres, then versus Houston. I may actually go 2. I just don't trust it.
Wow. I was thinking 2 is high. 4 strikeouts each of the last 4 games. Well, I mean, what I was thinking
I guess I get where you're coming from because the season ERA doesn't really matter.
What I'm thinking is, I think I'm supposed to say 2, but I would have a hard time even clicking him in. So I'm going to say 2, but see what you got for other possibilities because Houston's been hitting a little bit better. Anderson's not missing bats. So the 2-strike week doesn't help him out that much.
Then for the Los Angeles Dodgers, we're projecting Bobby Miller back next week. So new 2-start pitchers for them because of Bobby Miller's projected return. He's expected to make a rehab start either today or tomorrow and throw 4 innings, which in theory, lines him up to return next week. And no 2-star pitchers for Miami either because they have 2 off days. And then no 2-star pitchers for Milwaukee either because they were projecting Joe Ross back.
To return.
Yeah. Joe Ross. So some projected returns to various rotations next week. Then for Minnesota, your guy Bailey Ober at the Yankees. That's a really tough matchup in today's age with Anthony Volpe breaking out at just an incredible level. At the Yankees, at Pitt, where do you land on your guy Bailey Ober?
Well, he's not pitching against the Royals, so he has a chance. Oh gosh,
Murderer's Row.
The Royals got him opening day, and they got him last. Oh, like I said, it's happening all over again. Why? All right, it's not a 5. That's silly. It is a 3, maybe a 4. I'm going to go 3 because the Yankees are clicking. Let's calm down my Bailey Ober appreciation, which it's really kind of at this point, it's more of a gimmick than it is anything else. I just like him more than the field. I don't like him that much, better than, it's not my 10th starting pitcher, but I am going to give him a 3 and hope he keeps the ball in the yard against the Yankees and lives to see that start against the Pirates.
I'm with you. Tough news for the Yankees losing Clark Schmidt, but
yeah,
really that offense is really scary. And, Luis Heel has kind of blossomed into a frontline-ish type of guy. At least he's pitching like that so far.
So we got Cody Petit short-term filling in. And if he's out for a month, if Schmidt's out for a month, some guy named Garrett Cole may be able to backfill it for the second half of June.
About ready for a rehab assignment, right, Cole?
Starting Tuesday. And he is
starting Tuesday.
Rehab starting Tuesday.
Yeah. That's confirmed, huh? That's awesome.
Well, I think I read it on RotoWire.
I'd heard that it was possible, but could make his.
I don't know if it was the rumor section or the news section. But
it is in the news section, but only that he's nearing it and that he could make his first rehab start Tuesday. But either way, it looks like
close,
less than a month away for
close. Yep.
Yeah, probably a couple outings at least, maybe 3 rehab outings. But either way, Cole nearing his return for sure. All right, so we mentioned that London series, and we've gotten to our first of the 2 London series teams here with the Mets. No 2-star pitchers for them, but anything else you want to mention about park factors or expectations for that series?
Runs should be scored. I care more about the matchups than I do the park factors on a short-term basis. And I think Tyler McGill may be the best starter going for Ranger Suarez. So I do expect some runs to be scored. But would I use Suarez or would I use McGill? I could see because they have in a 1-start week, I could see using a reliever. I wouldn't use Minaya and I wouldn't use the other Philly guy. We'll get to him, but Walker. But I could see using a reliever just in case over those guys.
Interesting. Okay. And then Luis Heel, who we just mentioned, 7-1 with a sub-2 ERA versus Minnesota, then versus the Dodgers. That Dodgers start, it keeps him down in the 4 range, but he is showing the makings of a 5 long-term, Luis Heel.
I want to check the walk column. It is down, and that was the concern. Mm-hmm. Early on in the year, he's walking people left and right. And he hasn't walked more than 2 in his last 4 starts while continuing to miss bats. Yeah, I'm going to, even with that Yankees, I'm going to go 4.
Yeah, same. And Joey, with the Dodgers. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Joey Estes for Oakland. I don't know how this team has as many wins as the Mets. That's embarrassing for the Mets. But and hey, the Reds don't have many more than the A's either. But Joey Estes, that's a 0. Can't in any instance start
him. He's shown flashes, but is it no? Yeah, all right. I'm gonna go 0.
Yeah, not enough for me. And then the Phillies, the other side of that's London series, so they'd be 2 off days. Then
I'm gonna. Can I go back on Estes?
Yeah.
Seattle strikes out left and right. I'm not, Toronto, they're both in Oakland. You know what? I think he's someone you may actually look to get.
Interesting. Okay.
That's just.
Hey, there probably won't be many people on him, so
yeah,
get him for relatively cheap.
That Seattle start, they're both at home, so I'm gonna give him a 2. I'm gonna find a place to try to pick him up to put my money where my mouth is.
Okay, you are, more confident and braver than I am, but
yep, the part.
Good to mention that there may be something there. And then Jared Jones. Pitching breakout, one half of that incredible young, combo at the top of that Pittsburgh rotation now with Jones and Paul Skeens. Jones, though, a little bit of a step back his last time. 5 earned runs over 4 1/3, and that was at Detroit. Only 2 Ks. So the 2 Ks, kind of middling, and Ks haven't been eye-popping in recent starts, but Jared Jones versus the Dodgers versus Minnesota. Dodgers start scares me. I still think I'm going to go 4. He had a historically great start to his career, and the amount of swing and miss gives me some comfort. I think with the amount of bats he misses, he's not matchup proof, but pretty safe even in tough matchups. So I'm going to go 4.
These are at home. I'm going to go 3 because this is not the pair that you want to get right, but they are at home. So I'm going to go 3.
I mentioned Matt Waldron. I picked up. Don't love it, but he does get the Angels to start next week then versus Arizona. So it's at the Angels versus Arizona. And then we have Yu Darvish slotted in for Tuesday. He is day-to-day with a hamstring issue.
You're going to put that as tentative for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, very tentative. But Waldron, I think I'm going to give a 2, even though, like you said, you probably don't watch him. And he is risky.
He's actually fun.
Yeah, I love the knuckleball, but he is a guy who, from start to start has some variance to him. And I could see if you're too hesitant, reluctant to start a guy like Matt Waldron. But I'm going to give him a 2.
I'm going to go 3. The first time through that he faces some of these teams, he's the kind of guy that I'm not going to use in DFS, but I'm not going to stack against him either.
What about Darvish? Again, very tentative here with that hamstring, but at the Angels versus Arizona.
If he starts, he's a 4, but we pay attention to the update come out. There should be more information on because he was removed yesterday. So yeah.
George Kirby's been a little disappointing with an ERA over 4 so far, but at Oakland, at KC looks pretty good way to get right. Although, as you said, KC we have to recalibrate a little bit. But
so about Oakland,
2 good pitching venues. Yeah, true. I think I'm going to give Kirby a 4. Still expecting better things from George Kirby in the long term.
I'm still giving him a 5, but
5. Huh? Okay.
Yeah, I still believe. I mean, I know it's been bad, but I still think he's that good. I'll just talking about Parks. I wonder. I mean, it's going to be weird. The A's are swatting homers, and they're going to be in a bit of a bandbox next year.
Yeah,
AAA Sacramento.
They won't be the Sacramento A's though. That's still still don't know how we're going to handle that because we have city and team designations in our admin area. So it's going to be weird. It's going to be like the NAAs. It's going to be very strange. But anyway, Keaton Wynn looks like he's on the verge of being activated through a 45-pitch bullpen session earlier this week. So he's getting close. Could be available to start when his next turn in the rotation comes up per MLB.com. So tentative here on Keaton Wynn, but we have him in for at Arizona, at Texas. I mean, I think I'll go 0. Coming off the injury.
We're looking at 60 and 75 pitches probably.
Mm-hmm.
And San Francisco, it may not be a opener primary pitcher scenario, but they are really good at that. So it could be a piggyback scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So the matchups I could see at Texas. No, I'm going to go 0 as well.
Yeah, I expect him to be better than a 0 type pitcher, in the long term, but coming off the injury, pitch count limitations, I'm going to go 0. I'm really waiting on Blake Snell to show something. I mean, guy was a Cy Young winner last year, and he's talked about, the importance of spring training, and it seems like he's really, missing that exhibition season with how he's pitching. He's admitted it, and he stepping right in to face big league competition in real games. It's been tough for Blake Snell. Kyle Gibson at Houston versus Colorado. This guy's always in my blind spot. I just don't know. I don't like starting him. Maybe I would in certain situations, but I think I'm going to go 2 just because the Colorado start at home.
I'm only going to go 1. I just can't do it. He usually burns me, but I just can't do it. And strikeouts haven't been that great. No, I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah, starting Kyle Gibson and getting burned is kind of a rite of passage if you're a fantasy player.
Home runs will pick up as well, I think.
Yeah, so fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But Tampa Bay, no 2-star pitchers because they have 2 off days next week. And then let's see here for Texas Rangers. I'm not sure who we have. It looks like John Gray's still out, but then he'll be back.
I don't think Heaney has been officially inserted back. I think we're making a bit of an assumption there. Maybe right, but it'll have to see. So there's a chance Eovaldi gets a second start. I think we're starting him anyway because he's got Detroit at home.
Mm-hmm.
But if he happens to get a second start at San Francisco, he's also not going deep in. I mean, he's a 3 or 4 for me, but if he gets that second start.
Yeah, well, I'm not including him on the list just because we don't have him.
Right, we don't
currently, but we'll see for Texas.
Yeah, Heaney hasn't been reinserted. I think we're assuming that he helps spread it out a bit.
Well, Kevin Gausman has looked a lot more like Kevin Gausman of late. His last 6 starts, he has 3.24 ERA, 1.23 WHIP. Ks are back.
Not bad. Not completely.
Well, yeah, his K per 9 of his last 6 is 10.3, but
last game,
you might expect a little more than that. Yeah, last game only 3.
Yeah, when I had him in DFS, so it's all about me.
Well, as somebody who has him in several full season leagues, it's good to see Gausman pitching like himself again. But would you go back to 5 on Gausman?
Baltimore and Oakland. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too. But Baltimore always scares you. All right, and then let's see here. Oh, we have Bowden Francis in.
He and Rodriguez are both kind of rehabbing at the same time, and they're both on track to take Manoah's spot.
Yeah, it sounds like Manoah's out long term.
Yep. So I think either Rodriguez or Francis for me are 0s, so it kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah, Francis pitched pretty well his last time out of AAA, but it was only 3 2/3 innings. I don't expect him to provide much length, so I'm going to go. Is it Bowden Francis?
Yeah,
Bowden Francis. Okay, I'm going to go 0. And then final 2 guys here, Mackenzie Gore and Trevor Williams. Trevor Williams, I mean, he's just been a magician this year. I don't know how he's doing it. He had another year like this, I think, with the Cubs, right, where he's just walking that fine line but getting the results. And I don't really trust him. Mackenzie Gore has been getting whiffs with the results, but so I think I'm going to give Gore a 4 and Williams a 3. They are both versus the Mets and versus Atlanta.
Yeah, just so they don't get tweeted out, it was Pittsburgh back in 2018. That's how long ago it was that Williams had a great year.
That was 2018. Wow.
Yeah,
it was Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and it was the changeup. He's always been the best changeup in the league, but he doesn't have anything else. All right. I don't remember. I know I heard you said something. I don't remember what it was. So without knowing what you're saying, I'm going to go, Atlanta. Without Acuna at home. I'm going to go 4 and 2. 4 for Gore, 2 for Williams.
Okay. I had 4 and 3, but I got you down as 2 for Williams, which probably is the safer call. All right. Don't forget about the London series next weekend. And with that in mind, we will recap our 2-star pitcher grades for next week, the week of June 3rd, 2024. We are into the summer months here. Ryan Nelson, 0. Slade Ciccone, 0. Max Fried, 5. Grayson Rodriguez, 5. Corbin Burns, 5. Cutter Crawford, 3. Andrew Abbott, I say 3. Todd, 2. Frankie Montas, 1. Tristan McKenzie, 3. Ryan Feltner, 0. Ty Block, 0. Jake Woodford, 0. Tariq Skubal, 5. Justin Verlander, 4. Seth Lugo, 4. Tyler Anderson, 2. Bailey Ober, 3. Luis Heel, 4. Joey Estes, I say 0. Todd, 2. Jared Jones, I say 4. Todd, 3. Matt Waldron, I say 2. Todd, 3. Yu Darvish, 4. George Kirby, I say 4. Todd, 5. Keaton Wynn, 0. Kyle Gibson, I say 2. Todd, 1. Kevin Gausman, 5. Bowden Francis, 0. Mackenzie Gore, 4. And then Trevor Williams, I say 3. Todd, 2. Great stuff as always today, Todd. We appreciate our sponsors on the show. And anything else on your mind? I also want to say, too, that we appreciate everybody chiming in on the chat on this Friday. It's always good to have some back and forth.
Yeah, there's the Bill Walton reference. I talked to Jeff a little about this, and I was getting Lar Michael vibes when people talking about Walton. I think I'm not comparing Lar to Bill Walton, but I just think that I think there were some similarities, lighting up a room, taking over, always positive things, etc. I just think I was getting some Lar Michael, and Jeff agreed. I was getting some Lar Michael vibes. But anyway.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but now that you say that, I totally agree. That just kind of person you want to be around, joyful, nice, and just kept it real. I got my borderline tie-dye on I didn't wear that for Bill Walton, but it kind of just happenstance.
Yeah, no, it's all good. All right, anyway, so no, well, I guess we'll leave on that. Yeah, I've got nothing too much on my mind. Doing some work, crunching the numbers for run scoring over the month. I need today to be over, so I have the final numbers, but runs are back down again. They went back up, but they're back down again. I don't know. I mean, anyway, bizarre.
Yeah, we want to say that we appreciate everybody, and yeah, it's been a fun few months, and we got a long way to go. Keep your nose to the grindstone. Keep putting forth your best lineup, and we'll just scratch and claw up those standings together.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody, for being with us. Thank you, Todd, and thank you to our sponsor, Prize Picks. Use promo code ROTOPOD for a 100% deposit match. We'll catch you guys next week on the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast, brought to you by Prize Picks.